Welcome into the Cafe Nightly Show. I'm your host, the Goldsmith. 29th of January, 2024. It is the end of, or headed into the end, I should say, headed into the end of the first month of the first quarter. And one of the big promises of the first quarter of 2024, of 2024 was that there were going to be some things happening for changes. We were told and promised a revamping of seasons in order to give us different variety throughout the game. We got some more details last week about what revamping of the seasons actually looks like, how it's going to affect and how it will affect potentially scoring when it comes to or graduated scoring on what could be, what people's earnings end up being. We'll get into that. Just speculation at this point, more details to come. But also that it's going to be dynamic. There's going to be new features added. And we got some more information on the new features today. So last week we did get the announcement on the revamped seasons. We've got some notes there. Definitely worth covering because they dovetail very closely, very tightly here with the announcement from today, which is this idea of passes during seasons, during monthly bases of those seasons, that we do have the ability to now have Upland Premium, let's call it that. And much like a Game Pass or much like a Battle Pass in a lot of games, it doesn't actually change the key gaming mechanics. It doesn't change whether or not you're going to win the match that you're in. If you're a competitive match, if you're on a leaderboard for a contest and you're trying to win blank, an airport terminal, for example, you're not going to be more likely to win that airport terminal if you put USD into the premium. But it looks cute, you get the little special outfit for your character, for your toon. You're playing Overwatch 2, and you want to have the cutest outfit for May. You're gonna have to pay for it and get it in the premium battle pass. So that is kind of what we're getting into that on that announcement. We'll get into the specifics on it. We'll get into a little bit of controversy on it. We'll talk about some of the speculation. There's a lot of room for speculation on this because the details are very limited. So we will get into all of that. But of course, up front, we do have to do the disclaimer. And then one announcement before I get the disclaimer, kind of a story of Upland that it's kind of a little joke on the Phygital side, but in a reality, Phygital side here as well. Disclaimer up front, all views and opinions expressed by myself, they're mine and mine alone. Shouldn't be taken as game strategy or financial advice. They don't represent the game or the team of Upland. I guess who do come on, their views and opinions are theirs and theirs alone as well. They don't represent myself, the Goldsmith, the Cafe Nightly Show, or the game or the team of Upland. Game strategy, financial advice, obviously not something I can directly give or a guest can directly give from the show, but we do try to have lively conversation. If you are on Discord, thank you for being on Discord. We do and will continue to run live shows on Discord for voice only. Do try to keep my eye on Discord to see what's going on there. If people have comments, obviously live on YouTube as well. Thank you for watching live on YouTube, and comments there are open. I do keep my eyes on those. And finally, if you're watching recorded video, we are recorded 7 p.m. PT Monday through Friday. I start late recording sometimes, quite often, but you should have it up immediately after the show or at least during the show so that you can watch if you've missed some of it. Of course, key up front. Let's get into the Phygital argument that I want to make. And the Phygital argument I want to make is not everybody has the opportunity, and I am privileged to have had the opportunity. I have a lot of things in Upland that don't go my way. I've been in every single terminal sale. I've never gotten good draw on a terminal. I know people who've gotten multiple terminals, so congratulations to those people. I'm not one of those people. I've been in almost every limited sale in the game of Upland since they've been doing limited sales on the queuing. I've gotten very few of the high limitation items, the things that there's only 50 of. Very, very few of those do I ever get into. I never get that lucky, unfortunately. But I did get lucky. I do get some privilege every once in a while, and I got to call out my privilege when it's there. And here's a piece of privilege. Oop, I gotta get myself to the right thing because my background is not gonna like this at all. All right, there it is. Close enough that I can see it. I did just receive in the mail today. I can do this too. Look at this. I did receive in the mail today from Upland, and this is kind of a making good on promises that I like as well. I don't think you say you're going to do something on a recording, have 1,000 people watch it, and then don't do it. But again, I got to say thanks to Dirk and Don. I got to say thanks to Upland itself, because if I flip this little football around, I will see a Bobby Wagner signature over here. Bobby Wagner signature, possibly going to be a Hall of Fame linebacker. So we'll see how that goes. He's got a couple years to get there. And of course, if I can continue to spin this ball around, don't want to put fingerprints on a signed ball if I can avoid it. Of course, it's an Upland ball. So Upland working with the NFL, obviously we did put out did have some promotional balls they put together. Obviously, they did get some of them signed. I'm lucky enough to have one. So very, very much so. Congratulations to me. But also thank you for actually giving out a prize you say you're going to give out. I love it. It was something that was done as part of the end of the year extravaganza with the UpX podcast, and was Dirk and Don decided to give those out rather than let us run the interview like a normal interview. They hijacked it and they did a little bit of quiz game, and the winner was me, and the winner of the big prize obviously gets the big prize. That was me. So I'm glad that happened. I want to thank the team obviously for doing that. It was a lot of fun, to get the tables turned on us, but I love prizes too. So that did come to the post to me today. And like I said, the one thing I want to say is on that is the NFLPA partnership is still there. We talked about the NFL partnership kind of maybe even expanding a little bit, or feeling like that, kind of with the idea of replicas finally coming into play. It's been slow to add those features that I expected day one, or the first season anyways. They told us the potential of replicas literally when we're getting ready to buy these things in USD before we'd even seen the images. Almost 3 years ago, 2.5 years ago, we were getting ready for these, and what we ended up with was something that was very iterative. We had small steps along the way. They continue to expand. This is not a partnership that's ended. I have a Bobby Wagner ball telling me that they're continuing to work with NFLPA. So looking forward to the future of that partnership. And enough of that. I feel like that's a promotion of Upland and NFLPA. I got to be thankful because I'm pretty excited, but really get into what we're looking at for today. So today, obviously the two big announcements, I guess it's technically just one, is obviously we did have a video put out by X1 later. Hard to show a whole video here, but we will get into the long form announcement, the one we can sit here and read, that we can look at the details, we can look at the verbiage, and if there's something that's crazy on it, we can take a look at it. And in order to talk about it in detail, the Frost season pass, the concept of season passes, we got to talk a little bit about seasons revamped. So taking a small detour here to seasons revamped. This was an announcement from last week. We had some speculations about it. We were told more to come, and the seasons pass is part of that more to come. So let's take a look at the announcement very quickly here. Run through it pretty quickly on the seasons revamped, but some of the parts here that really tie in here. Again, we've got 6 new seasons: Frost Blossom, Genesis, Sizzle, Harvest, and Wonderland. Existing seasons that are nestled inside there essentially are going to continue to exist. Our seasons are essentially going to be a 45-day basis, each of them about 45 days long, between 42 and 45 days. There are, like I said, 6 of them throughout the year. There's a rest period in between each season of about 15 days. And on those rest periods, there will be special events. There'll be, leaderboard contests, and there might be race events, or there might be something else held in that place. But during the seasons, there's going to be special events themed around, bonuses and contests built around, are you doing ornaments or structures or whatever else that we have tied to that season, potentially even inclusive of map assets, hopefully, fingers crossed. And are you participating in those? There's going to be contests that are built around that. You're going to have benefits for decorating for that holiday, which is great. It is great to have that seasonality because it's a level of interaction that pushes the game forward. It puts a little bit of a different direction on just, I bought a property, I'm going to sit on this property, I'm not going to do anything, I'm going to cross my fingers, I'm going to sit on them. I like the idea that there's going to be a reason for me to be in Genesis season that is different than the reason to be in Blossom season and the Frost season. I like the idea that something that I had last year I can use this year. It has more benefit during this particular 45-day stretch than it has any other period of the year, and it gives me an incentive to change my decorations each season. I like that. I get that. It makes sense. We'll get into a little bit about the details here. Again, the ornament and seasonal rewards. With ornaments now year-round, there's bonuses for having the right ornaments at the right time of year, having the appropriate ornaments during the current season. You will be eligible for seasonal rewards and prizes. This will help work towards an ever-changing aesthetic, which helps with the idea of stylized and gamified layer one upland, what people can see as they interact with the game. So kind of like that. It does tie into the UGC economy because the ornaments, the majority of the ornaments now are actually UGC decorated. The new ones coming in are UGC decorations, a UGC generated ornaments. So I do like that as well. That being kind of a focus of the seasons. I hope that's the biggest focus of the seasons, but we'll get into this new announcement that kind of gives you a little bit of a departure from that UGC side of things, at least for now. The gamified UPX and earnings and missions. This is the biggest and most important part here. It doesn't dovetail as closely with the announcement as the rest of the announcement, as a new announcement, as much as the rest of this announcement. But it's worth noting. I do want to stress it a few times here before we actually get the details from Upland. Gamified UPX earnings and missions. So a key element of each season is going to be a gamified experience. The idea that there's something you do this season that you don't do in other parts of the season, whether it's interacting with a specific set of your ornaments, there's different map assets, maybe there's a different activity each season. We don't know all the details. We know they're going to be there. We know there's going to be missions each quarter, each season, each 2-month season, which is going to include things like probably decorate a number of structures, or potentially map assets, or whatever the case is. And they're going to be related to property development as well, which may be building structures, whereas do a certain thing in a certain period of time and you get a certain reward. So we'll watch out for that, how that actually plays out. And again, tied into in-game activities, which are going to be like leaderboard activities. I'm sure there are going to be other opportunities as well with those earn an entry type contests. We've gotten very used to those. You do the thing that the game tells you to do, you get entered in to win a pretty decent prize generally. So that is an important thing to know. And the UPX earnings being gamified, there's a couple speculations on that. It's not been clarified. The question's been asked. More Cheese did directly ask. X1 directly answered. We'll tell you that later. I will tell you that at the same time we tell everyone else. And the great question is mentioning that modifying what earnings might look like. Again, to increase and get better earnings, you might have to do X, Y, and Z. You might have to have them decorated with the right. You may have to build a structure on that property and not just leave the property undeveloped. This is becoming something that is going to be part of the future of the game of Upland. People have asked for this. People are already upset about this because they thought that their dividends were guaranteed forever, which I could get into the specifics of the team telling us time and time again that they are an incentive to hold properties, that they will be reduced at some point in the future, that Upland's going to watch the economy to decide when to reduce them, and that at some point they very well could add something that's going to require people to do interactivity to potentially get their whole amount of their earnings. This is actually a concept that was introduced quite a while ago, or at least the concept could later exist. So keep in mind, this is going to be something that when the official announcement comes out, with the percentages, with the activity you have to do, with the benefit, there's going to be a little bit of ruffled feathers, I'm sure, but it's also going to be an opportunity for the people who are putting the time, the effort into the game to earn more than they would if they did not put the time in. Again, hence the gamification aspect, earning something for doing something, not just for holding. So that will be something that will be definitely coming later. Monuments in MV Racing. There's going to be a new thing called Monuments in the game of Upland. Racing is going to be centered around them, and some of these races are going to be centered around what are called monuments, which is kind of a new idea here. There's official circuits around those monuments, and Upland's going to be hosting their own racing series. That's going to be apart from the partnership racing series they've done with URL, where they've done a few highlighted racing. Those races may continue to happen, but ultimately this is in layer one where you can interact with Upland directly. You don't have to go to a third party. You don't have to go to someone else's Discord to interact with it. This is going to be more direct with Upland. So it's kind of exciting to see that. And that's going to be something that is going to take place likely in those in-between periods, those periods between two seasons, those fit that 15-day window where you have something to do that's not directly tied to Genesis season or whatever season it happens to be. So we have to go over that a little bit in order to talk about kind of this other things to come, more information to come later about the seasons being revamped. And here it is in a little more detail. We're gonna have to run this in full detail. I want to run this in full detail because this is news. This is from today. Frost Season Pass, unlock exclusive style, introducing the Upland Season Pass. Let me get through some of the language on it, and then I want to take the flip back on some context. Seasons have arrived in Upland, and with them, we're introducing an exciting addition this season pass. This exclusive pass is designed for players who appreciate style and cosmetics. I want to say that a second time, designed for players who appreciate style and cosmetics. It is highlighted and in bold. And I'll come back to why I wanted to say that twice. Offering a unique and limited time opportunity to enhance your in-game persona. The reason why I said it twice is because it's not for everybody. It's not really designed for me. I'm interested in what's going to happen. I want to see what's happening from the being able to talk about it on the broadcasting side, being able to have a little bit of journalistic understanding of what's going on, what it looks like on the first hand. Excuse me, but I'm not sure I need this pack. We'll get into the specifics of what the pack looks like. And then the rest is speculation because the details are pretty thin here. The details of what's in the past or what the past is going to give you, the details of examples of the items that are coming from the past, even the numbers, they are going to be, there are going to be a little more details to come. And yes, Blue, I know I really don't need to purchase them in order to report. I can go and ask somebody who did purchase them. And maybe that's what I'll do, Blue. Maybe that's what I'll do. What is the Seasons Pass? The Seasons Pass is your key to unlocking a variety of cosmetic items. When you purchase and burn the pass, you'll receive a weekly drop of cosmetic items throughout the season. Again, purchase and burn. So this concept that you get the pass, you burn the pass, and then you're going to get some drops. Each season will bring its own array of exclusive cosmetics, further enriching the sense of uniqueness and individuality. There's some more details here that are important. I gotta hit these. I want to hit these. I want them to be like ingrained in everyone's brain 1,000 times over the next several weeks before people or as people are putting money in to buy things. Seasons passes provide only cosmetic items. It's important to note that these are not NFTs. These cannot be traded. These cannot be sold. They are directly linked to your Upland account. Again, one account, one purchase. It's yours. Cosmetic drops happen every Tuesday, and once you miss a drop, the items are gone forever. Again, you have a limited period to collect. You don't collect, you don't get it, even if you burnt the pass. We are continuously evolving and expanding new ways for players to express themselves within Upland, and you can expect these enhancements to continue in future seasons. The season's pass is priced at a fixed rate of $6.99 per person. Additionally, every season's pass includes a badge to further enhance your in-game identity and prestige. But we'll get into that. There's some controversy there. The first season passes will go on sale in the UPX store on January 30th at 9 a.m. PT. That's tomorrow. Let's see who buys them and who's excited about them. Again, a little more context on my part and my opinion. And of course, it's opinion. You're welcome to have your own, and I hope you do. Why choose cosmetics? These cosmetic items are intricately connected to your Upland account, granting you the freedom to tailor your in-game identity. Whether you favor a discreet appearance or wish to make a bold impression, these cosmetics offer a platform to exhibit your distinct style. Moreover, it's important to note that as time goes by, different cosmetics will become increasingly rare and unique, adding an exclusive and exciting element to the exclusivity in your gaming experience. Again, rare and unique is tells a story about who you are, what you're doing, but it is not the type of rare and unique where you can make a profit, where you can trade this, sell this for a profit. If you are somebody, and fingers crossed, we'll see what the future of Upland holds. But if you are somebody who is streaming or sharing or having a cafe and being differentiated in one way or another for your character is important to your persona in the game of Upland, I can see people wanting to do that. Again, there's some language in this next sentence which is highlighted, so I will we'll mention it, and then maybe I can have some comments here, snark along the way. Furthermore, possessing the rare cosmetics below bestows a sense of prestige upon the gaming persona, symbolizing your dedication and proficiency among fellow players and earning you respect and recognition within the community. Again, I do want to just parse a couple of things out and just say it's not really a matter of proficiency to put USD in the game. I can understand the idea of prestige directly tied into choosing to put money into a game. It exists in a lot of ecosystems. It is kind of a I'm more dedicated to this than you are. You see that in some communities. You've seen community gating in some of these communities in the past where they want to see people do a certain level of earning blank aesthetic armor, which sometimes in said games, certain levels of aesthetic armor requires either putting money in or extra levels of dedication to grinding and gaming hours. So it's kind of an interesting thing to see that idea of building a prestige based system, or discussing the prestige based system based on pay to enter aspects of the game. But it's an option. We'll get into some of the economic realities behind it. How it works: season passes will be available in the store throughout the entirety of the season. Again, entirety of the season tells me we're not going to see these be super limited. Every Tuesday, players who have activated their pass by burning it will receive an exciting surprise cosmetic item. These items won't be revealed beforehand, and we don't know much about them, ensuring every week remains filled with anticipation and engagement. A snapshot of eligible players will be taken at 9 a.m. PT every Tuesday, and anyone who burned a pass for a season becomes eligible for that week's items. You only need to burn one pass per season to qualify for all the drops. However, it's crucial to remember that once you miss a drop, you miss out for good. For instance, if you purchase and burn the pass in week 2, you won't receive the cosmetic drop for week 1. Okay, easy enough. Yeah, when you burn the pass, it has to be burnt before the snapshot. Makes sense to me. All season passes are going to be $6.99, focusing exclusively on cosmetics. As the season progresses, we will continue to expand player customization, further enriching your in-game identity. And again, we haven't gotten specifics here. There's 2 ways that we have in-game identity in the game of Upland currently. Maybe we can add a second and a third, but the 2 main ways are you have your block explorer with with a background that is your block explorer as it floats around the game of Upland. It's identifiable. It's identified on your profile if someone goes to your profile in the game of Upland, or if somebody sees your block explorer and color background combination floating around the Upland ecosystem, they can say, hey, there's Goldsmith because that's his sandwich. So that is a identifier. The other one obviously is the Ready Player Me avatar. In most cases, there is only a handful of different clothing options. You can own wearables. The wearables are more unique. There's fewer of those, so it's more customization. So people can wear a certain item, and maybe they're used to wearing a beard, and maybe they have glasses, and you can say that's a goldsmith because he owns a rare wearable and he's wearing glasses and a beard. It's probably the goldsmith. And then you can go and hover and say, yep, I was right when you see the name. So the customization of your Ready Player Me asset does have or Ready Player Me avatar does have some benefits, so keep that in mind. So that could be part of what we see here. We obviously could see ways of enhancing or changing the look of the little image that floats around. Key thing here is if I get a really cool frame that's little snowflakes that goes around my block explorer when it's floating around through the month and a half of the frost season of our frost season, we are not going to be able to trade that, to exchange that, make a profit off that. Just keep that in mind. If I monetize it because I always have the season, and I have a YouTube channel, and I like to show off what the look is when the first comes out. That's between me and the people who help me monetize that content. But again, I can't trade it as an NFT, which people are used to doing. But that's not all. Seasons Pass also includes a unique season badge. Get into some of the controversy there. Your badge will be delivered to your account on the first Tuesday following the activation of your badge. Every season features its own distinct badge, making it another exclusive collectible for you to cherish. Again, collectible, it's a badge. Definitely, badges have meaning. Definitely, people have a lot they ascribe to them. Not collectible in the same means that we have other collectibles in the game of Upland. Upland is built around the idea of NFTs. A lot of the concept of collectibles in the game of Upland is, can I sell it for a profit? No, you can't. The badge, it's an identifier. It tells a story. It's a bit of the provenance of you as a player. It is not a way for you to make profit in the game of Upland unless you monetize, like I said, through content or other means. Get ready. In summary, if you enjoy the idea of standing out in the Upland community, the season pass offers an exclusive opportunity. Get ready for a season filled with surprises, style, and self-expression. Get your season pass now and make this season unforgettable. Well, let's get into a little bit of context and speculation and personal reaction. So, context is this an opportunity for Upland to make USD without the players who are getting the passes themselves, without the players who are getting the enhanced aesthetics, enhanced cosmetics, having the opportunity to turn around and make a profit off that? Yes, Upland is making USD. The players who buy this opportunity, this graphical representation, this cosmetic that can be shared or people can see it, but they can't be sold for a profit, Upland's making money off that. The money that they're making is USD, which means it's revenue, which means it can pay bills, which keeps the light on, can keep the servers running, can pay employees so that employees can make new things in the game of Upland. And it does not significantly improve or increase the value of the player-to-player economy. It could be something that a person makes a decision to buy this pass as opposed to put money USD into the player-driven and player-run economy. 100% true. They're all true. People can debate about where the place of that exists, the place of Upland, the value of cosmetics versus the value. I'm just taking a look here at some of the comments and a lot of gifts that don't look too flattering about where UGC versus this sale lies. But let's be honest, this is Upland making money so that Upland can stay operational as a company. They are giving something that some level of player wants. There are people who would love this. There are people who hopefully do love this. And there is a certain type of gamer player, a person who wants to be part of Upland potentially, who isn't part of Upland now, who's going to see something like this, and it's going to attract them to the community. That's going to put them in a position where that's the way that they are going to put the most USD into the game of Upland. They may not be buying a lot of properties. They may not be selling a lot of properties. They may be coming to hang out in cafes, which are one of the future aspects of the game of Upland. The game of Upland is founded on the motto of play, connect, earn. That concept of play and connect, notice they're up front, earn is in the rear. For the last 4 years or almost 4 years of Upland, we have had the earn be at the front of the line. Rightfully so. Many people who came to the game of Upland thought that the game of Upland was earn. Play and connect is an important part of earn because it ultimately helps establish an economy. We have to bring people into the game to expand the economy. We have to have something for people to do in the game when they're here. And of course, the game of Upland, as we have a conversation all the time, is a for-profit company. They are the operator of the ecosystem. If Upland ever becomes a fully decentralized game, there still will be an operator who has to do things that have costs, and they have to make revenue in some way so that they can do all the things that need to be done to keep the game running, especially if the game is responsible for some level of content generation, which the game of Upland at this point is. So the money that's coming in, keep it Upland afloat. We can argue whether that's the best or the keyest way of doing so, but if there is a gamification aspect, if there's something that people enjoy, and when I say gamification, I'm not going to help people win contests, but this idea that this is part of an aesthetic and people are changing their aesthetic to play how they're playing or represent themselves the way they want to represent themselves in a connect space. And that's what they want to do, or one of the things they want to do as they interact with Upland, then I think there is a market for it. It may not be for you. You may be a person who came in the game to flip properties, and that's been your gameplay from game one. And you see this and you say, Upland, you're not getting my $7. And that's okay. That's okay because this is not going to affect how you treasure hunt. This is not going to affect whether or not you win that contest, but it does affect the way that you may be seen or sick out, or people know it's you when you go into a cafe in the future. And I want to put a big old exclamation point here, and it's not the one to tell you what's going on here. It's the little yellow one that goes up there that says, "Hey, flag on the play." The flag on the play is we don't have that many details. The reality is we do know that these are cosmetic items. I kind of gave this little concept that it may be something, or some of them may be something to do with the way we have that frame displayed around our floating block explorer. Keep in mind, we've done this before. We've had it with Halloween. And again, we had the opportunity to make these custom years ago. Last year they turned them on for the customs again. This past year, there was just a few options where you could go and put spider webs on your block explorer for a few days. A couple different options there. Was pretty cool. That could be something that is tied to the Frost Season Pass or to the future passes. We will know more about this when we start to see people next Tuesday getting the rewards for their purchases. So we'll have to see how that's done. But that's a speculation. Speculation could be also some way of changed or improved or altered in presentation for your Ready Player Me asset, or I should say avatar. That is something that, like I said, that is the two main forms of representation, and that could be the case. You could have profile enhancements. Again, not necessarily the frame around the thing that floats in the game, but the frame on the profile itself. And who knows? Maybe there's some interaction or greeting in your messages in the game if you send messages in game. It looks like there may be options to toggle these on and off, because that's kind of into this thing where Upland's talking about customization of your enhancements, of your aesthetic cosmetic enhancements. So the idea of being able to turn them on and off is interesting. But again, the last thing here is you get something that's lasting, that's going to be long term, that you're going to have available to you throughout the year, and that's a badge. And I say a badge, and then give a little pause. People have some thoughts about badges. Some realities on the idea of badges is some of the early badges in this game of Upland commemorate people who put money into the game of Upland or bought into a special requirement. There was a climate badge where everyone could electively pay a fee in to offset some climate concerns, because again, there's some climate concerns that when it comes to NFT based games. They got a badge. Some of the first people in the game of Upland, the people who were playing USD only, who were putting money USD into the game without any way of getting USD out. Bless those souls, because they're part of the reason why Upland exists in the first place. They get the Founders Badge. Congratulations to anyone who has a Founders Badge. Thank you so much. Those are badges that people essentially bought, or they put money in the game of Upland, and they didn't put money in the game into the money into the game. Wow, money into the game of Upland, but they are. Again, also something that could be earned during a limited period of time. You had to do something at a certain time. Same thing with these passes. I'm not saying that this is the best thing in the world to buy badges. I know a certain individual by the name of TML who has made this big point about he wants to have the most number of badges in the game of Upland, that he continues to think he does. But he's not going to for long if he refuses to buy these passes. Again, he hasn't said that necessarily, but that will be a part of the gameplay here. You buy these and you continue to play in the game of Upland, and you can earn badges other ways, but you can earn them by purchasing them as well. I had this conversation already earlier today. This is played out in general. This is played out in many conversations, between uplanders, and that is, what does this do to badges? I think it kind of creates tiers of badges, and that's not tiers in the sense of Upland having a certain marker that says this is this type of badge, this is that type of badge, and it's not tiering in the sense of 1, 2, 3, like we do have the 1, 2, 3 for levels of badges based on a certain performance in a certain contest at a certain period of time. But it's more like there are different ways in which you earn a badge. I would say there's a level of badges which are, I call, earned badges, and they're earned because you have to do a certain activity at a certain time in the game of Upland. It's usually a quantity based thing. You have to break a certain threshold, and you earn that because you hit it. That may not be limited to a specific number. It's often when you've got, you got to do this, this, and this. You got to earn this many points between this date and this date in some leaderboard, and then you get it. It could be 500 people. It could be 1,000. It could be 200. The number of total badges that get given out depends on the number of people who complete it. Then there's the other type of badge, which again is pretty exclusive and is pretty well liked, and has always been a matter of exclusivity and a matter of pride in owning them. And those are little contest badges. Though you won, you were number 1, 2, 3, 4. You were one of the top 10. You potentially got lucky because some contests are lucky badge winners. Or you press the button before everyone else and you won a Mint Masters badge, which again, those are competition badges. Those are won, but some of those are a little bit of luck because I think there's thousands of people who are trying to button at the same time to buy a property at a city release. So those are the idea of winning winning or earning a badge based on competition and competition for first, second, third, whatever the case is. And then finally, there's a new form of badge, and that's I straight up bought this bad boy. I'm not going to put that for the founders. I'm not going to put that on the people who have the Climate Cares badge. I'm not going to put them in the same group as these new seasons pass badge winners or earners or really buyers because they were doing something at a specific period of time. It was a commemoration of that period of time. They were in an early period, but these are really just, hey, you're in the game at this time. You want to buy it, you buy it, you get a badge. And as long as we see that and the notes are clear and the community is smart enough, and the community is smart enough, don't get us wrong. Don't look at your friend who plays and say, this idiot will never figure it out. The community is smart enough. So long as people do a little bit of research to know the difference between the different badges. There's going to be so many badges that Upland's going to have to give the opportunity to toggle them on and off. And there's already been some discussions, some questions, and some, veiled answers that may be the case coming up. We'll wait for more details from the game of Upland, but it has been hinted that it may be a possibility because there may be so many badges that people don't want to display them all, that they can't display them all. They get in the way. So we'll see how that works. But again, I just want to circle back around to say on this is something that is for the people who want it. It is hopefully not enough of a difference to the people who don't want it that it affects their gameplay. It shouldn't. It is a matter of revenue for the game of Upland. People will use the word, or people have used the word cash grab. To be fair about the word cash grab, it's a cash grab. It is a way of earning money for Upland. It is not a way of earning money without giving something. It is not a way of earning money for Upland without being transparent about what they're doing. But it is Upland making money without giving us something that we've had in the game before, which is if you buy something, you have the opportunity to sell it. Maybe you make a good flip. Maybe you have to sell for less than you bought it for. There's no guarantees on that. Maybe you hold it forever. Maybe you're a hodler. Maybe you want to hold it for 10 years and see what happens with it. But this is not something you can do here. You can't flip it. You can potentially keep it in your profile, and people can see later that you earned that badge. But it's not a tool, a vehicle for earning Upics in Layer 1 Upland. It's a potential for differentiating your style in the game. And as we get further in the future of the game, fingers crossed, as we get further in the future of the game. I'm laughing based on some comments here in Discord. As we get further in the future of the game, we may see some differentiation. There's people in the game now who say they don't want to be in a world where, or in an upland where the focus of the game is not clearly on people buying properties and flipping them. That will continue to exist. I think it very strongly, I feel very strongly that there will be opportunities for people to buy and sell properties, but that won't be the only thing there is. Upland ultimately started the game play, connect, earn. Ultimately, the community and the money and the basis and the time was on that earn very much so for a very long period of time. Upland is rebalancing this to some degree. I would say this is part of the play and the connect portion of the game, and very little about the earn portion of the game. You're playing the game of Upland. You have a way you're displayed. Maybe the way you're displayed could do something for you. If you're having a conversation with someone, they can recognize you. That's part of the connect portion. So I definitely see that as Upland tries to get into a new player base and bring new people into the game of Upland, this is part of it. You know, they're trying to have a different aesthetic. They're trying to have a stronger engagement with certain seasons and making people be engaged at a certain time. But they're also trying to make revenue as a company. So theoretically, if you don't like the fact that Upland's making revenue this way, go buy a bunch of Upics. If Upland was selling enough Upics, they would not be looking at other means of earnings or revenue. And again, I do not fault Upland for making money. I will continue to we continue to expect Upland to have revenue so that they can spend it in ways that develops the game out. So I can't be too surprised when they put out something that earns them revenue. The other big part of this that I want to put out and want to make really clear on this is this is going to be something that is potentially to evolve. Upland keeps saying flat $6.99. I think that means that they're not going to have sales and they're not going to charge you less if you didn't start in the beginning of the season and you start in week 2 or week 3. That's what I think flat means. I don't think this is a guarantee that in 6 years, $6.99 is going to get you a season pass. I don't think that means that they're never going to change their pricing, but I do think that it is something that we can look at. This is what Upland plans on doing. I don't know if this is how iterative this is going to be. If the first pass set is going to be similar to what the later pass sets are, I think that we can always expect Upland to iterate. If something doesn't work well for them or doesn't work well for the player base, there is a little bit of impetus for people to see some changes on the Upland side. So hopefully we see that. But I do want to put one other thing out here, and this is, where's the balance of UGC in this? I want to see UGC emphasized. I think people spending money for artistic representation or cosmetics that's not put out by UGC is something that does create some of the emphasis and energy away from UGC. That is something I want to put out there. I also want to put out a potential solution. Hi, Upland. Potential solution. If the UGC community is more tied in with these things, and again, with AI art, I don't know how much Upland's going to put their hands out and say, hey, you want to make a little revenue? Put out some art. But with the continued expansion of AI, I expect to see AI used in some of this art coming out. But if Upland could put UGC art at least in a percentage of these cosmetic enhancements, and a portion of the revenue could go to those UGC artists, that would solve a lot of my concern. Again, and that is just that this takes a little bit of the emphasis against UGC. It doesn't mean that UGC can't make money. It means that if UGC is selling an UPIX, they're technically not selling directly against their Frost Pass because their Frost Pass is in USD only, but it is, as always, a consideration. As always, something like this does potentially, every time we get something new, potentially change the balance that already exists with UGC. And again, the gripe in the community, just to be clear, one of the gripes in the community about the UGC balance or the lack thereof with this is that UGC was suspended, or the submissions thereof were suspended for a period of time, and Upland had time to put out a new artistic or cosmetic event. Which again, if the seasonal submissions were open for UGC, there might have been more UGC Frost season coming out. That's kind of one of the things that's been out there we've heard. But of course, I'm gonna come out on the side whenever we have something like this of seeing what the realities are. And the realities are this is a revenue generator for the game of Upland. There are a certain percentage of players who are going to want something like this, and there's going to be a certain percentage of players who are going to say this isn't for me. For the players like me, who this is not their main thing in the game of Upland, I love cosmetics, don't get me wrong. I love player-driven UGC. I'm going to go keep buying pieces and picking up pieces of map assets, earning pieces, winning pieces, getting pieces as I can, and you're going to see them popping up on different ones of my property, different properties that I own. You're going to see that I'm going to build structures for the sake of cosmetics, not just for the utility of that structure, because I like to see neighborhoods built out. I've got a couple neighborhoods I love to see fully built out, so I'll continue building in those neighborhoods. But this particular pay a direct USD, get a little bit of cosmetic enhancement is not going to be my main focus in the game of Upland. It may be someone's. There may be somebody who comes in the game of Upland and says, "Oh, I like this feature. I like the way this looks. So that looks cool." The looks and the aesthetics may bring in people who aren't in the game now. And again, even the people who aren't going to pay $7 a month, and they aren't going to come in the game to pay $7 a month from day one, but they come into the game and they start playing the game because of the beautification, because of the cosmetics of the other players. They like seeing the variety. So I can't knock it too hard. I can't say I've got a major concern with it, which I don't. I'm not going to say I have a major concern with it. I definitely understand the people who say it's not for them, who question the balance with UGC. But I'm ultimately looking for UGC coming back hard with the playground helping play a role there. Trying back and forth to find dates and times with Jason to come in and talk about the playground. I'll continue to try a little harder to get a date here over the next couple of weeks. But again, the UGC focus, I would love to see it stronger, and maybe fingers crossed Upland hears, and maybe we can sneak some UGC into these passes. But for tonight, I do want to put out again 9 a.m. PT is when this sale goes on for these frost passes. Frost passes again. Theoretically, if you burn them immediately, I think it sounds like it's going to be into next week, next Tuesday when stuff are coming out. We got a little bit of football here over the next 2 weeks as we get towards the big game. We will have another burn period for the final of the year. Again, on the NFLPA side, we know that's coming up. As of today, just a little bit of housekeeping and heads up. As of today, any of the properties that were not minted as part of the Tokyo Pass, those were released and they were available to the public to mint. That was open. If there are some properties that haven't yet been minted that were released, they're still in Tokyo and you can go and look at minting them. There were some areas that got heavily minted that had reserve properties in them. Those reserve properties became available to the public. So just a heads up, I think that most of them have been minted in the places where people actually wanted to have properties, but there may be some bonuses in there, so keep your eyes out. If you saw an area sold out that you wanted to own a property in, if you had a question about a nice large property in the corner and it just wasn't there, now it might be. So go take a look in Tokyo, Minato neighborhood if you are looking for properties up there. But otherwise, for tonight, thank you so much for being here. We started late, we ran long, and I hope I didn't come off too much and strong on one side or the other, but can definitely say that the future of the game of Upland is not just one thing, and this will likely be part of it. This type of seasonal balance, this type of catering to people who have a different focus than maybe the founders of the game. So thank you so much for being here tonight. Anybody who is listening in the Discord as we do end the show, I always say, please feel free to unmute your mics. The floor is yours.